What is up, everyone? Welcome to Open Minded. I am Pete, here with Zach,
Hello.
and today we're going to ask the question: should we cut military spending?
This is a good one.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime.
Like the interesting thing is the houses you see around you are all solar houses.
21st Century Fox has been holding talks to sell most of the company to Walt Disney.
So, right off the bat, I've said this before on the show, and I'll say it again. Of all of the different political standpoints, I consider myself mostly a libertarian, which means I want as little government interference as possible in my everyday life, and I want as little taxes as possible. I want to just be able to live my life without the government interfering with it. That being said, the tax rate is through the roof right now. I know it just got cut recently because of the Trump administration, but the amount of military intervention that's going on, not only like through the Obama administration, but to today, like we are, Trump announced recently that we're gonna have a permanent base in Syria now. After months of bombing the Syrian country, we're gonna now be permanently stationed there, just like we are in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I just don't see how our military intervention and all the money that we're spending and all the lives that we're destroying and all of the allies that we're making and enemies that we're making through our intervention, how is that helping us as a country? How is that helping the average American person? I don't think that it's causing us to have, more security. I think if anything, it's causing more instability in the world, which can then lead to another terrorist attack. I mean, I feel like the reason ISIS rose in the first place is because we were interfering in the Middle East and
Yeah,
fighting
but
these
they would have
proxy
done
wars.
something anyway. It's not like they're peaceful people.
I
Like they've
know.
never not been at war with at least themselves or something.
Yeah, that's true. They're a developing country.
Well, it goes beyond developing. I mean, they're in the heart of the first civilizations ever. They're like, I don't know, the weird people in the neighborhood that never like left and did things, you know?
I don't know. What do you think? Should we be a country that interferes militarily with other countries, or should we maybe just kind of take a step back and focus on ourselves as a country?
No. We need to interfere because if we don't interfere, who will? Like Russia, China, and they're not as moral as we are. Like, so it's better off having us interfere than anybody else, basically.
You make a good point. Now,
And that's one of my things about needing a strong military. One of the it should be our biggest spending that we have because the only reason we are America is because we have the strongest military. If we didn't have the strongest military, we would either be taken over by something or just be bullied into whatever any other country that's stronger than us wants. And then eventually we fade into not even really being America.
I I disagree. I think it's important for us to have a strong military, but we have the strongest military tenfolds than any other country in the world. Like we don't need to be
That
that
has ever
strong.
existed.
But we don't need to be that
Yeah,
strong. And even
we
having a
do.
strong military isn't the same. So we could have a strong military and not be in a bunch of other countries interfering with their politics. We can have a strong military and be, you know, like have our strong military and have it to protect us if anything does happen, rather
Well,
than
let's
going overseas and interfering with other countries. And I mean, you're
well,
right. You make a point.
what do you think uh Russia would do if they had our money and our military and our technology and all of that. Like if Russia had our military, they would do some crazy things. They would immediately start taking over shit. Like imagine Germany had our like technology. They'd probably do crazy shit. Like but yet America, we're not doing crazy shit. I mean, we are in wars, but so is everybody else. Like
Yeah, but that's not a good excuse. Just because everybody else is jumping off a bridge, are you going to jump off a bridge? Well, I mean, that's not a good example because if everybody survived, I would totally do it. Like if there was a big, like a bridge with, water underneath and everyone who jumped off survived, I would definitely do it. But anyway, that's
that sounds fun.
But just because, okay.
It's not that everyone is doing it, it's that it's going to be done by everybody. It's not like we're never going to have wars. Even if we had like one nation that's a world nation, there's still going to be wars going on and fighting going on. So that's a thing that's like a set cost, We always have to have a military.
I just don't see, I can't see the justification of spending 27% of our annual budget on military spending when we're over $20 trillion in debt and we're not spending that much on infrastructure in this country. We're not spending that much on
Well, I agree with that. We should be working on the infrastructure, but also we can totally cut a lot of spending in the military but still get the same exact results and same products and same everything. It's just that we're paying, like $1,000 for a bolt because it's made by a certain guy. Meanwhile, you could go to the hardware store and get the exact same bolt or some shit like that. Well, not a regular hardware store, but a good one or something. And you get it for fucking 25 cents. Like that's where we're wasting our money. Like the military is as important as we are spending for it, but we could cut the spending and still it would be just as important.
how much
Because there's other things we could spend it on, like infrastructure,
space exploration.
space. That's one of the biggest ones, I think. Like we always somehow talk about space with most of our podcasts because it's like that is the most important thing, like that the human race has to get to. We have to get to space.
Yeah, it's like, what would you rather be spending our money on? Expanding our species and ensuring the future of the human race, or destroying each other and potentially ensuring the destruction of the human race?
Well,
I would
why
take the
can't
former?
why can't we do both, but not as bad as the first you made the second one seem? Why don't we go through and explore space and everything through like the Navy or well, you can't have the Air Force. It's not really there's no air up there, so it would have to be a Navy.
It would be, I think it would be similar to the way like Star Trek does it, where they run like a starship the same way as they would run a ship on the ocean.
Yeah, it's like a vessel, as Scotty would say or whatever. A vessel.
That wasn't Scotty. That was
Chekhov.
Chekhov,
Yeah.
But
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like, we need everything that we're doing in the military is important and is paramount, like importance.
Yeah.
Everything else, that's like secondary to the military, because the military is what makes us even be a country, or else we wouldn't be a country. We have no say in, like, if everybody's stronger than us and they tell us to do shit and we're like, no, they could just take us over and do shit,
I'm okay. My argument is not we should get rid of our military and let another country get stronger than us. I still think that it's very important to have a strong military, to have a great force, a lot of technology that goes into protecting us and protecting the rights of all human beings. But the amount of military intervention that we are involved with, I don't know. To me, it seems like, yes, taking over countries in the traditional way where we would, people would, a country would invade another country, take over the land, and then that would become part of that country. That's over. But that doesn't, like, just because we're not doing that doesn't mean we're influencing other countries and trying to like bring them over to our side with force. We're not invading them in the traditional sense, but we have a military base in so many countries of the world. And imagine if, you know, we have, I don't even know how many bases in Germany, which is, you know, understandable. But if
Germany's lucky we even let them stay a country, you know, with what they fucking pulled twice. We could have just been like, you're not even a country anymore. Everybody splits your territory. But we let them have it.
But if any other country set up a military base in the United States, we would be outraged. We would say, no, this is tyranny. This is, you know, you're trying to invade and put your influence on us, and we're living in fear. So why is it okay for us to do that to other countries?
Because I think they get more money from us. Like, we're paying to do that. I don't think we just do it and take it over. I think they get taxes or some sort of, you know, benefit for us being there. Not only that, we're there. Nobody is going to attack them. So they do get our protection as well.
If a country wants us there, I don't see an issue with that. But if we, like in Syria, we started bombing them, and now we're setting up bases there. They don't want us there.
Yeah.
But
when has Syria ever been peaceful in the history of Syria? Like, I don't think they've ever been a peaceful nation. Like, it's about time countries or more intelligent, you know, countries and civilizations and cultures stepped in and been like, yo, you guys are out of your mind. You guys have to calm down with this craziness. Like, you are killing everybody, like, over ridiculous reasons. Like, what's the Middle Eastern country right now that's like, they're literally openly selling black slaves? Like, why are we not going in there with like a shadow force and just fucking killing all the fucking slave traders like that? I'm pretty sure that's like the most illegal thing you could ever do.
Yes, but you have to think of the repercussions of us just going into a...
Who's going to hate us for killing slavers? Nobody. They're going to... Fucking France will be like, oh, thank God someone did something, you know? Because they're not going to do anything.
Yeah. France isn't doing shit. But I don't know.
That's what I mean about us being the most moral.
I'm on the fence about it so much, but like in my heart, I think that we shouldn't be focusing on death and destruction more than the I just don't think that we should be spending so much money on the defense budget. Like, it feels like a waste to me.
I agree. We could get the same amount and the same exact amount from our money, you know, but get more because we're wasting it. Yeah, I don't know how to say it better, but like we're wasting a lot of money paying more for something just because it has a name, you know, rather than, I don't know. You know what I mean, though.
Well, okay, so here's a perfect example. For those of you who don't know, Zach and I were both in the Marine Corps together, and we both worked in the aviation field. And from my experience, at the end of the fiscal year, all of a sudden, all of the helicopters would be flying 24/7. And one day I asked my sergeant, like, why they never fly this much? Why are they flying so much? Oh, he said it's because it's the end of the fiscal year, and if they want to get the same budget next year that they did this year, they have to burn through all their fuel. It's such, I mean, a lot of companies do that, but that's different.
That shouldn't be a military thing.
It shouldn't be something
if you don't need to spend that money within, you know, your squadron or whatever, you know, then you give the money back to the government. But the instant you need more money for something, you get it. It's not like a funding thing. It shouldn't be thought of like that. However we do that, that's wrong. It should be, you get this much money, or you basically just have a credit card. Anytime, you know, you need something that's for the squadron, for, you know, mission readiness and shit like that. You're not just using it for like a pizza party or anything stupid, you know?
Well, here's a breakdown of the defense budget. First of all, let me go through the entire annual budget of the United States. 8.64% of our annual budget goes to debt interest payments, which is, we're in debt. We're in a lot of fucking debt. We have to get out of debt. 17% of the annual budget goes to various government programs, such as subsidizing agriculture, transport, and commerce, science and space technology. That's, by the way, science and space technology, only 1.13%. Like international affairs, natural disasters, less than 1% goes to natural disasters. Environment, parks department, immigration, border patrol, education, jobs training. That's 17% of our budget goes to all that. 50% goes to healthcare and poverty reduction, which is a whole nother conversation. And then 25% goes to defense budget. So, and this is these numbers are from roughly a year ago. So now that we're ramping up our military, it's probably more than 25%. But of that 25%, if you break it down, 15 or 16% of the budget, of the entire budget, goes to weapons, vehicles, ammunition, and maintaining a constant state of war. Now, you and I have both discussed the amount of corruption that goes on in our government, and the amount of stuff that is happening behind closed doors that we don't even see. What about all the money that just goes missing?
Oh my God.
And it's all for like, these secret like shadow wars that we're fighting, or we're providing weapons for countries that we shouldn't be providing for. Like, all of the debacles that we've been in the past like 20 years have been only because we were involved. So we're spending money to get involved in these proxy wars, which then lead to more proxy wars. It's like a never-ending spiral, and it's just going to continue to go out of control until we're completely broke.
Yeah, but also I think that weapons are important. Like, the stronger, even if we're not even using them on people, we should still be trying to make weapons. I feel like, because eventually something's going to happen. We're either going to need it for an asteroid, or we're going to need it for whatever circumstance, It's you never know why you're going to need a weapon, But we should keep spending money on technology and getting better weapons. Definitely. So even if we aren't at war, in these proxy wars and everything like that, we should still be trying to be better.
We should definitely try to be better. We should have a budget to R&D, new weapons, new technologies. But I mean, when you spend like $1 trillion on a freaking airplane that doesn't work, it just really makes me just so angry at the amount of
But
spending.
that's the kind of thing where I think to myself, like, that's the fake thing, We spent $1 trillion somewhere else with like cash, and we couldn't have like a trace of it or whatever. And then we just invent this dumb thing that didn't work, and we just say we spent $1 trillion on it,
Yeah. I definitely agree that, I'm a gun supporter. I think that, in this country especially, you have the right to arm yourself to protect yourself. But that being said, I'm not spending 25% of my income buying weapons every month and just...
Well, if you lived in Chicago, you should.
Maybe. Except for it's illegal to own a gun in Chicago, so...
Yeah, which is ironic,
But, okay, so here's a fun fact. NASA's budget from the inception of NASA in the late 50s until today, the entirety of NASA's budget of its existence is less than 1 year of defense spending. We've spent about $500 billion on space exploration since its inception, since we first started thinking about going to space. We spend more than that every year on the defense budget. And a lot of it is waste. like you said, a lot of it is we're buying these parts from contractors who charge so much more. Like they
Yeah.
bring the prices up like 1,000% just so that they can make a profit. And it's because we only have that one or maybe two contractors that work under these contracts instead of allowing the free market to bring our prices down. And that's like one great thing about the way Elon Musk is, and SpaceX, and even like Blue Origin. All these private companies that are now breaking into the space industry, making space travel significantly more affordable for anybody. So why can't we do the same thing for military? Not suggesting that we have a private military, but maybe we should rethink the like where we get our resources for the military, where, you know, how much we're spending on all of that. We could probably cut that 16% of weapons, vehicles, ammunition, and maintaining a constant state of war. We could probably cut that down by 5 to 6% and still have a very strong military. And that money can then go toward other government programs.
Yeah. I'm fine with cutting spending as long as it doesn't affect the outcome, you know? If we still get the same exact products, the same exact everything, but somehow we found a way to, like, cut spending, but nothing changes, I'm down for that. We could cut the spending as long as we're not going easy on our military. We need to be the strongest military. We are the most moral nation.
I feel like that's not saying much.
Well, yeah, I know. You have like the most extreme. You have the craziest, you know, cultures and civilizations and everything, countries. And then you have like the middle, which is most of them, you know. But then you have like, you really do have just like America right there at the top, because we recognize, like, what other country has free speech? I don't think any country has free speech except for America.
Not the way that we have.
And I don't think there is a Second Amendment or like a gun right for other people. I think we're one of the only ones on that.
It just kind of makes me angry.
That other countries you can't even have free speech. That makes me like, that's so surprising. Like Canada doesn't even have free speech. Like there's rules.
It's not completely free. But free speech, yeah, it's a good thing, but people,
I think it's one of the most important things.
I do too, but I feel like it's not completely free here.
Here?
Yeah.
You can't say hate speech. Well, I don't know what really hate speech is, but you can't do speech that incites violence and things like that.
Well, who's to say?
Speech that'll hurt somebody, like physically get hurt.
Well, okay, what about like all the NFL players who are kneeling during the national anthem? That's their right as an American citizen. They have free speech, yet there are freaking outrages or even
well, yeah, that's the whole thing.
During the Olympics, Shaun White won however many golds that he won, and they put the flag around him, and as he was like celebrating, the flag fell and he accidentally stepped on it. Oh, and everyone's like losing their fucking minds over it. It's like, dude, he
I didn't even know about that.
Your country,
yeah,
and won 3 gold medals, and he accidentally stepped on a flag, and you're getting mad at him? Like,
yeah, but what would North Korea do to that person?
Oh, probably kill them. Well, North Korea is not even in the Olympics, so.
I thought they were.
I don't think they are. Why would we let North Korea?
Oh, we let Germany do it. Hitler was there.
It was in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
They hosted it.
That's funny.
How ironic, because the Olympics are in South Korea.
Huh.
Kim Jong-un
History keeps going back.
Kim Jong-un is like this from his mansion, like, oh man, these motherfuckers. But I don't know. Maybe I've been living in California for too long, but I was also in the military. Like, I kind of feel like I was like the black sheep in my unit, because whenever
Yeah, me too, definitely.
whenever anybody's talked about like, oh, let's go over, let's bomb the shit out of them, those damn towel heads, and I'm sitting there like, wow, you're like this crazy warmongering people. Like, I don't even want to associate myself with you. Like, isn't there a democratic or a diplomatic way to resolve our issues instead of invading and bombing the crap out of people?
Well, that's like the whole thing with where we tried to we're now recognizing Israel as the capital or whatever of Jerusalem
Yes,
or whatever the whole
that
thing is.
caused an
But
uproar
like,
too.
yeah, but like they tried to be diplomatic for so long. They were like, "We'll give you this quadrant and this one. We'll do all these things for you," and the whatever, flat out refused everything. There's some times when there is no diplomatic solution. They really do just want to be fucking like evil.
Yeah. It's hard for me to imagine somebody being just purely evil, because when I think of other people, even if they're in like a state of power or if they're really like not good people, I still think of them as people. Like, they still have the same similar type of like decision making in that goes on in their head. Maybe they're corrupt, or maybe they have like an ulterior motive and they're very selfish, but I don't think of other people as being just evil. It's so it's like when I see other countries or the leaders of other countries being like doing the things that they do, I think to myself, like, how can we resolve this without being violent? How can we?
Well, we have our big stick. We have the biggest military, and we say, "Yo, you're being so evil right now, and you have to stop." And if they don't stop, then you have the moral obligation to save people rather than not hurt bad people.
Yeah. I really don't know the answer to this question, but I still think that we should cut our military funding. I
See, I'm with you on that. Like I said, as long as it doesn't affect the strength of our military.
and that's where we, I think, disagree. Like,
Better contractors,
that I
basically.
still disagree with you in the fact that I think that we don't need to be as powerful as we actually are. I mean, look at World War One and World War Two. We were not the leading power in the world during those times. And we stayed out of the conflicts. We stood back and we said, okay, you guys are like being these crazy war intervention, countries, and we don't want any part of that. We're going to stay over here and mind our own business. And until the point when we were invaded and kind of pushed into it, or it got to a point where we can't just sit by and be bystanders anymore, then we got involved. But it seems like today we're the ones who are the warmongering interventionist country, and other countries are starting to resent us because of that. We've become what we have fought.
I feel like that's because everybody's just coddled. If they went to these countries where we're going and lived there without us, like just lived there before we got there, they'd be like, "This is horrible," and they'd be like, "Someone needs to step up and help them." But you also have to want to be helped. If you want to remain, in a totally inhumane kind of culture, then you have to move aside for the future, basically.
The hard part about that is there are some people in like countries like Afghanistan and Iraq who do like want to be westernized to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
But if they ever spoke out about it, them and their whole family would be decapitated by ISIS.
Yes.
So there's nothing we could do about that, and there's no way we can help them. Like the only two ways I could see us actually helping them is going into their country and trying to wipe out the ISIS and all of these,
which is, I think we've done that,
or opening up our borders and allowing refugees to come in. And both of those solutions don't seem to be working. So when you're doing two, you know, you're choosing these two solutions that don't work. What is there left to do? You need to make a third solution. Maybe we should just take a step back and let them figure it out for themselves. And that might be, immoral.
They've had 2,000 years to do that.
Oh, are you saying that the world is only 2,000 years old, according to the Bible?
I'm saying their civilization is like 2,000 years old. Well, not 2,000. When did Muslims come around, or Islam? Like 400 or something like that?
It was after Christianity.
Yeah, it was like 400 or between 400 and 600 or something like that. So they've had like 1,500 years to become, civilized, but they aren't.
Well, what about, we're kind of focusing on the Middle East, but what about China? Like China.
I agree with that. I would never want to go to China. Like, I'm sort of scared of China. Like, if I went to China, like, they could do anything,
Yeah, they literally could.
They have like it's so lawless there. It's like the West, basically, except the government is big.
And they are very, I want to say
mean.
westernized, but
Well, they're very technological.
Yeah. They have advanced technologically. They have big cities. They have a lot of technology. They have a huge military, and they're using that military and as their own influence to take over areas that are not supposed to be owned by any type of sovereign country. Like the China Sea, they're taking claim of.
They're making islands.
I know, and that's messed up. But there's nothing we can do about that unless we want to go to war with them. And I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to war with them.
I don't either, but I think we would win anyway.
We would win, but at what expense?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think, for the most part, I'm a pacifist. So I think if we could find a way to resolve our issues without violence, without war, without the military, we should take every effort possible to do that. And that means not getting ourselves into situations where military interference will be necessary. So maybe just making better decisions with our government and with who we choose to help and who we choose to just let them be.
But you need a strong military to even have a diplomatic solution. Otherwise, they're just going to tell you to do this, and you have to do it.
Yeah, you make a point. You make a good point. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we cut our military spending? I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for even asking this question, because nowadays, if you're an American and you want to cut military spending, you're basically unconstitutional. But I stand by my thought that I think that we should cut military spending. We don't need to be this powerful. We can still be the most powerful country in the world without taking it to a level that's just ridiculous. If you guys have anything to add, email us at openmindedepisodes@gmail.com and let us know what you think.